Okay, for some reason I managed to get one of the bishops out, and let's say I'm going to during the course of the game I managed to get this black bishop out. But before we actually do that, what you're going to see here is the interesting colored square that the bishop actually occupies. So if you look at there, this bishop, look at the white side, you've got two bishops. One bishop, white bishop, is sitting on a white square or a light colored square. Okay, but this bishop, which is a white bishop, is sitting on a dark colored square or a black square. Okay, and so similarly, if you look on the black side, this black bishop is sitting on a dark colored square. This bishop is sitting on a white colored square. So when you set up this board and the bishops are placed in their appropriate squares, that is the only colored square, light colored or the dark colored square, that particular bishop can actually occupy. So this bishop, because sitting on a white or light colored square, can only go on a light or a white square. Okay, so let's say if I take this bishop, when you set it up, this bishop is set up to be sitting on a dark colored or black square. So this bishop can only travel on a dark or a black square, dark colored or a black square. Okay. Similarly, from the black side, this bishop, black bishop, is sitting on a dark colored square. So it can only go on a dark colored or black square. This bishop is sitting on a light colored square. Okay, when it's set up on the board. So this bishop can only go on the white square or light colored square. Okay, right. So they can't actually move to different colors. Whatever color they have already been set up to, the square they have been set up to, that's the only colored square they can actually travel. Okay, so let's say for some reason I managed to get this bishop out. Remember, this bishop can only be, because it's already on a dark square, so I can only for some reason manage to get it out into the center of the board. You've got to be placed on a dark square. Okay, this bishop I'm going to somehow get it out of the initial position. Because I've been sitting on a light or a white square, it can only be set up, for instance, on a light or a white square. So I can choose any. Let's choose one of these squares there. This is just to show, okay, how the bishops move in the first instance. We'll talk about how to get the bishops out from the initial position later on. Okay, right. So here we go. So this, let's say it's white's turn to move. This bishop, remember, it's sitting on a light colored square, can only travel on a light colored square. That means it can either go kind of forward or backwards. Okay, but because it can only travel on that colored square, that means it's got to travel in a diagonal manner. So there you are. So this bishop goes like this, flies like this, goes across like this, goes like this. It can go like this. It can go like this. It cannot cut across the squares. All right, that's very important. Okay. Similarly, if you take this black bishop sitting on a dark colored square, it can only go on a dark colored square. So it can fly on dark. It can go this way, this way, this way, and this way. Okay, so going diagonally forward and diagonally backwards. Okay, right. Now the important thing here is, again, it can fly to more than one square if there is space available for it to actually fly to. Okay, so for instance, this bishop, so let's say it's a white's turn, this bishop may decide to fly as far as that, but it can't go any further than that because its own piece on that light colored square is blocking its path, so it can't go any further. It can't fly over. Okay, it can't fly over, it got to fly through something. Okay, and this same thing with this, it can go only as far as that, as far as that, as far as that, as far as that. But there is a difference here, as you notice in a moment. If it's the opponent's, the other side's piece, then you can actually cut it. Okay, right. So what actually happens is, let's say it's a black's turn now. As I said, he can decide, the black can decide to move this bishop diagonally backwards, diagonally backwards. He can go there, or he can decide to go there, or you go there, or you can decide to go there. Okay, it might decide to go just there, it might go just there, but it can go further than over there. It can go as far as that because it's the other side piece. Okay, so it can go and occupy the other side square. By doing that, it's actually cutting this piece. So it's taken that piece off. Okay. Similarly, if it's it's a white's turn now, it can decide to go like that to any one of those squares. It can fly to any one of those squares, there, and similarly that way. But it decides, it sees a piece, it's a black piece over there, okay, and it says, no, I want to actually take this particular piece. So the bishop can go all the way up there, because these are all empty squares, all the way up there, and then it wants to occupy that, so you've got to cut it and take that. Right, now it's a black's turn now. Okay, remember this bishop, the bishops can only move diagonally in their own colored squares, okay, where they started. So in fact, now let's say it might decide to actually come back to its own side. It can't go any further because its own pawn is actually blocking it from going further, so it can only go there. Alternatively, it might decide to go this way. Remember, it can travel on its own colored square diagonally, and there's a knight sitting in there. So it wants to go diagonally, it wants to occupy that square, it can, because it's the other side's piece. So you can go and actually cut it. Okay, so there you are. Okay, now the let's say for some reason the white piece decide to ignore that, or maybe not. It's white's turn now. It got a rook there. Remember, the rook can go forward, backwards, or sideways, as long as there is space available, squares available for it to move. And it sees it's white's turn now, and there's a rook there, and says, oh well, I can move sideways because this is not my piece, my side's piece. I can actually take this bishop and occupy the square this bishop was sitting in, and that's it. Let's just cut that. Okay, so it's actually black's turn now. Black will say, oh well, okay, it's my turn now. Okay, I can see the bishop blocking my path, but because the bishop doesn't belong to me, okay, I can actually cut this bishop. Okay, it can't fly across. Okay, it can't jump over. If it wants to go further, first it's got to cut this and place itself there, and then subsequent moves later, you can actually, if it subsequent turns, you can decide to move this rook. So you got to cut that first. So there you are. Okay, so we just quickly saw how the rooks, the pawns, and the bishops, they all kind of interact with each other. So putting that all back, all these pieces back to the original position. Okay, put that back. Put that back. Okay.